So today, the writer's strike went kaput. We're done. The writer's strike is done. Well, they still have to vote on the tentative agreement, but they're no longer officially striking, I guess, right? Let's take a look at the internet. Let's see what the internet has to say. I haven't really read too much. I was skimming through it, trying to decipher what was going on. What's happening, folks? What's going on with the writers? Deadline is painting a happy picture. They're like, officially end at midnight, and it's past midnight, so it's ended. Big gains, they say, delivering on issues that many scribes saw as core to their profession. The deal contains big leaps in AR guardrails, residuals, and data transparency for writers. Sounds good, right? Sounds pretty good. There's some Q&A here. Mind-boggling. It went on so long, etc., etc. The leader of the guild is like, I think it's transformative. It's an amazing deal that has meaningful gains for every sector. We'll try the Google stand. So let's take a look. Let's take a look at the agreement. They provided a summary. It gets into the weeds here, and this is just a summary. The actual legal papers weren't released, of course. So there's even a lot more to it than this. So this is to May 1st, 2026. That's when the next negotiation is going to happen. What do you think is going to happen then? Are we going to have this AI going to control everything? Oh my gosh. Okay, so they got some increases, some percentage increases. Pretty good. Increased health. Let's just go over the important stuff, right? AI. Oh my goodness, AI. So let's read through this. We have established regulations for the use of artificial intelligence on MBA covered projects in the following ways. AI can't write or rewrite literary material, and AI generated material will not be considered source material under the MBA, meaning that AI generated material can't be used to undermine a writer's credit or separated rights. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, that's what they asked for, right? That's good. A writer can choose to use AI when performing writing services if the company consents and provides the writer follows acceptable company policies, but the company can't require the writer to use AI software when performing writing services. So I think this is different. I think they went in saying that they didn't want writers to use AI at all, that writers can't use AI at all, but but this is kind of what I expected, right? That if AI is in use, it has to be the writer who chooses to do so, which makes sense. The thing is that, like, there's still a lot of legal issues with AI right now with ChatGPT. They're being sued. A bunch of companies are being sued for copyright infringement. Like, later on it says that they don't want the material used by writers, or they don't want the studios to use the writers' material to feed and train AI. And so, but the AI software that they do use, is that going to be trained on just people on the internet? And ChatGPT, did they scan old scripts? I don't know. Like, they could have, right? So they're still going to be using, if a writer chooses to use AI, they're still going to be using, material, a program that trained on other people's work. But at least from going forward, it can't be used. The studios can't feed any writing done from now on to AI, I imagine. The company must disclose to the writer if any material given to the writer has been generated by AI or incorporated AI generated material. So this is what I was saying. The WGA reserves the right to assert the exploitation of writer's material to train AI is prohibited. Yeah, by NBA or other law. Okay. So a writer can complain, but hey, you can't use my AI you can't use my writing for AI to train AI. But it just says the right to assert. But do they have the right to sue? The right to combat that? It's not quite clear. I mean, it's not mentioned. Again, I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know. And this isn't like binding legal document. This is just a summary. And then so we got better terms for being employed on a project. An important thing I was looking at here. Oh, one important thing is that they're gonna be giving streaming data transparency. So the company agrees to provide the guild, subject to confidentiality agreement, the total number of hours streamed, domestically, internationally, high budget streaming programs of self-produced high budget, so big series like Netflix and big stuff like that. So I guess like technically a Netflix can produce a low budget streaming program, and then that they don't have to provide numbers to the producers or the writers any at all. It has to be they don't specify what constitutes a high budget program. And then it says the guild may share information with memberships in aggregated form. So I guess guild members aren't gonna have the exact, are they not? It's not gonna be a la carte. They can't just go up to them and be like, okay, let me see my exact numbers right now today. They have to wait for the guild to provide a form of aggregated views, which is better than nothing, but we'll see how that plays out. I mean, it just means that the writers are gonna have to wait until the guild provides them with the numbers. How long that wait is gonna be, I don't know. And then some other pay increases. And then this is I'm still not. Oh no, this is just weekly increases. Yeah, weekly pay increases, weekly rates. The room thing is I'm still not sure about that. The number of writers that they require per show and how many episodes. So right here the chart's like if it's 6 episodes or fewer, you need 3 writers in the writer's room. But then up here it says unless a single writer is engaged to write out episodes in the post-green lit rooms. And somewhere later it says that right here for single camera series made for HBO for HBS VOD, which is just VOD, high production, or what does that stand for? I'm not sure. VOD, hybrid something streaming, video on demand, and pay TV that are exclusively filmed in the U.S. and Canada requires 2 writers to be employed during the production, pretty much. It says film, not produced, filmed in U.S. or Canada. So something like The White Lotus, which has Mike White as the sole writer, that's always filmed elsewhere, right? Well, actually, the first one was in Hawaii, right? But the second season was in Italy, and then the next season is in Asia, I think. And so, is that exempt from this? Which because this show is basically just him as the sole writer and I guess a producer, and he stayed on to the whole series, of course, with no other writer was involved in any of the episodes, I think. So, according to this, he can still do that because it won't be filmed in the U.S. But if you film something in the U.S., it's exclusively filmed in the U.S. So I guess they could he just make a season in the U.S. but then have some scenes elsewhere, and then technically he'll be exempt from this rule, like have a few episodes in another country. All right, yeah. I'm sure people in the know are gonna read through this and explain it much better than I can. The creator that I usually follow for this is Dan Merle. He has a YouTube channel. Maybe I'll link him in the description. But you can look it up pretty easily. He usually has a good summary of the happenings. And he'll probably have a video soon, if not in the middle of the night tomorrow morning. But overall it looks good. But there's some details that it seems like there's exceptions here and there that may still cause some issues with some members. We'll see. We'll have to look into it at some other point tomorrow. So next stream I'll probably have a better understanding of it next stream. And we'll get some more reactions, I'm sure, from people. I haven't seen too much reactions on the internet. I haven't been looking really. So we'll see. This is just deadline. Okay, let's take that out. We did our homework. The homework is complete. Mostly, right? We got an idea. Let's talk about Ahsoka in a second, right? Ahsoka. Y'all ready, folks? Let me get some water. So yeah, it seems, it's good that it's coming to an end, and they are getting some good stuff. The writers, we'll have to see what happens with the actors. The actors actually voted to go on strike with some video game companies too. So we'll see if that goes through, and so we might have another strike with the game companies after they finish their strike with the Hollywood. So, and then of course the United Auto Workers are on strike right now as well. There's a bunch of stuff going on in labor this year and these last few years, really. I think did I read that? I think Biden actually was going to go on the picket line. He's done good and bad. He didn't. He kind of put an end to the railroad strike last year, which is pretty shitty. Basically, his administration made it illegal to continue the strike. So they sided with the railroad companies at that point. But like the Labor Commission is doing some good stuff too right now too. So There's some good and bad with this administration. Much better than a Republican administration, of course. Anyway, let's get back to the show. Ahsoka, folks. We are reaching the climax of this season, episode 7. One more episode after this one, and we got Thrawn being all creepy. Let's get to the recap. Let's start the video. It was a good episode. There was a lot of cool stuff in it. I think it's definitely hitting its stride now this season. You know, it usually happens at the end of the season. It's like when they really get going, you know. So, you know, I've got my minor quibbles here and there. The writing sometimes feels off. It feels like characters are like expressing themselves and are about to really get into it, and then it cuts away like that. You know, they don't like actually finish their thought, or they like you want to hear more. Like why isn't Ahsoka alive, or why isn't Ahsoka coming right now? I'm talking like in regards to Ezra not like prodding Sabine enough, and Sabine being all like timid about what's actually going on, and this Ezra just like, okay, whatever, I guess you don't want to talk about it. It feels like not completely realistic sometimes. But overall, it's definitely Star Wars. We got some Star Wars action going on. Let's turn down the music. Let's get to the video and put up the spoilers, right? It's a spoiler time. Spoiler time. This is the previously on, right? Yeah. Previously on, Sabine went to go find Ezra. She found Ezra. And now we got Hera being prodded at the council here, the war tribunal, whatever this is. She's being questioned, and Mon Mothma's on her side here, pretty much, right? And this other guy down over here is being a little bit of a prick, right? I guess the whole deal here is that we get a C-3PO cameo, and Princess or Commander Leia, General Leia, what's her title? Leader of the Resistance, Leia, whatever. She gave her approval. She's like, oh, sends message with C-3PO that, yeah, it's okay, I approved. And it would seem that, you know, she's just friends with Hera here, and gave her some help here, and really just approved it after the fact. And then it's always good to see Mon Mothma. Like, this whole scene here, for a moment I was like, oh, we're back in Andor for a bit. There's some nice Andor Mon Mothma stuff going on. Some politicking, some concerns. It's just a good actress in general. Just made me feel like, oh shit. And then, no, we're not Andor. We're in Ahsoka. Back into the time stream or time warp. While Ahsoka's training with the Anakin from the past, just a recording. It's a pretty cool idea to have a recording of Anakin as a remembrance. You know, she looks up to him. I don't know about you guys, but I kind of feel a little weird about this whole master and an apprentice thing. Just the wording. I think they shouldn't call him master. They should call her like professor or teacher. I don't know. Or something. Sensei. I don't know. Master just has these icky connotations. And then she's actually showing some more emotion here, Ahsoka. But I think we still need a lot more from that character in this series to really for her to really grow on me, because I'm still not fully sold on this Ahsoka characterization. But we do get more range here in her. She was like laughing more, joking around with Juan, the what's his name, the robot, Hu Yang. And there we go. It's Thrawn time. Lots of great imagery in here. Look at that. Sometimes the volume can look really nice, right? Especially when it's like big ships like that and just like landscape views. You can make that look really nice with the computer. It's a little more difficult when you introduce people, but you know, when it regards to close-ups and medium shots in small rooms, it can still do some wonders here, right? I like this little tech here, like it's like dust, how he like disappears. It's like a different type of hologram, you know? It's pretty cool. That indicates some kind of witch magic, right? It really differentiates between the good guys and the bad guys, you know? They have their own different technology even. And I do like how this series is introducing all this cool dark magic in the universe into the live action canon. Like we haven't really seen magic-y stuff like this so much, right? There's some force powers throughout that we see. There was the blind force user in Rogue One. That was a little more mystical. But this is really turning it up a little more, right? This series. So here's what I was talking about, like just like the stilted conversations that feel underwritten, and like Ezra's like wanting to know, you know, what's going on with Ahsoka, why are you? But then he doesn't really prod enough. It's like she just doesn't really explain anything. They've been writing for who knows how long, and she doesn't want to explain what's going on, that she's here and she has no idea. She might be stuck here with Ahsoka's dead. She doesn't even mention that. Like, it just feels really odd. I mean, I guess that's her character, but they're not really selling me on it. And Ezra just feels like, wouldn't you be a little bit more aggressive in the questioning at this point? He doesn't seem to care, it seems. I don't know. So, you know, but then we got the witches, of course. The witches. Here comes a fascinating scene where I think really shows that, like, what if there was a horror type of Star Wars show or movie? Like, that would be really cool. Because, like, the way they use the force power here, Ahsoka uses her force, magic power, concentration, meditation to speak to Sabine to say, "Hey, what's up?" from outer space, letting her know that she's there, she's coming. Now she can pinpoint her with the Force, I guess, and she's on her way. And it's really cool. It's kind of like, it's telepathy, but it's across space and time, or it's cross space, and there's no cell phones that go in this universe, and there's no that's the way that Force users can communicate, right? And what do you know? The Night Sisters are listening in, and so basically she reveals to the Night Sisters their location, right? By doing that, and so that whole little scene there, where it cuts to the Night Sisters, that's like when I was like, oh shit, this is almost like a horror movie, or a horror element here. Like this could be a cool intro to horror in the universe of these, like, it could be these witches, or it could be these other entities that use the Force to like talk to people or something, and then they think they're going crazy or something, but it's really the Force. And you know that'd be a cool show. Some witches in some Star Wars woods talking to some wandering fool, and they go crazy and start running, and then boop, a witch pops up. Oh, hello there. But I'm just we're not talking about speculative fan fiction right now. We're talking about this. Okay. So then witches are cool as shit, and he's like freaking scary. Look at that scary face. Cool, stormtrooper. Yeah, whatever. And then Shin shows up, and they split up. Balin and Shin. I guess he's like, this will be your fight. I've got other things to attend to. What is he gonna do? What's up, Balin? Where are you off to? And then the whole thing here is that Thrawn reveals its big plan, and I think that, like, another criticism regarding the writing is that Thrawn is also, like, throughout this episode acting all smug and elitist and stuff. Like, he's like, oh yes, maybe it's good that we've had actually it's good that they're all trapped here on this planet now, because we can trap them here. While the witch mother's like, this is horrible, they're all together now, they're all here. But Thrawn's like, nope, that's my plan all along. And then it cuts away, and he doesn't explain. Right, actually, it cuts away before he even explains that. And so it just feels like that scene is unfinished, and it feels like, okay, get to it, Mr. Pompous dude. And of course, he explains that's like, yeah, that's the plan, to get them here and distract them, and we're gonna leave them here while they're distracted fighting and shit. And who cares if Balin and Shin die? Because we're off, we're out of here. And of course, the troopers realize, oh shit, or the ship is about to leave. We better get out of here. And so they run for it, leaving Shin all alone. And she doesn't have the guts, of course, and she gets scared off too. For a moment there was a moment where, like, Ahsoka approaches Shin, right, and she's like, "Hey, I can help you." That seems to be some kind of indication that, like, oh, maybe this Shin character there's a possibility there that they can turn to the good side, to the light side of the Force at some point in the future. Maybe not this season, maybe in the following season or a following movie or something. But she goes, and they're all, it's all good. We're all happy now. Like, how are they gonna get out of here? Like, the whales like left right after the. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. The entrance scene, that was pretty cool. I didn't like so much the scene of the caravan scene. Really, it was just a bunch of shooty, and sometimes that kind of bores me. I'm more into the personal, sword fights, knife fights, saber fights. But this was pretty cool. Like, they had all these mines in the freaking atmosphere. And I mean, they were lined up pretty nicely. Pretty easy to dodge, I guess, if you go in a straight line. But how many freaking mines did they have to put up there? Like, what is the cost of this? Like, where are they getting these resources to put all these mines up here? Like, that must be like millions of mines, right? Covering up, is it the whole planet? That if it's the whole planet, I mean, that's like billions, right? If it's just like a portion of the sky, like, still a lot. But I guess that doesn't matter, right? Let's have fun. Let's have a fun action scene. So, and it's something I haven't really seen in Star Wars, right? I'm sure that there's probably something similar in the cartoons. I don't know, but it was a cool scene. But anyways, back to the end. All right, that was a funny line too when the robot is like, "Oh, I hope I survive to see the end of this." So nonchalantly, like, because he's a robot and just states the fact without emotion. And then it's kind of like sad at the end, but no one really acknowledges it. It's like Ezra's like, I feel like I'm finally gonna get home. I got a feeling I'm going back home, and they just kind of smile or something. But what's the plan, folks? Are you gonna rush it to the Thrawn ship? Are they gonna let you on? Like, are you gonna fight your way in? Are you gonna use the Force to call the whales back? Like, maybe there's some whales still hanging out. I mean, I guess we didn't see every single whale poof into the time warp, whatever it's called, the light speed. But I don't know. I guess they're just winging it, right? Like, they're going with the Force. They're listening to the Force. They have faith in the Force, particularly Ahsoka does, and Ezra, who, by the way, showed a bunch of cool Force powers that I forgot to mention. He used the freaking Force pushes, but he also blocked freaking lightsaber with the Force. I haven't seen that one. That one's a new one, right? It's almost like he had like an air shield between his palms and a lightsaber. And this whole scene here is really like to show the difference between Ahsoka and Ezra, right? Ezra's like, I just need the Force. That's all I need. I got this. And Sabine is like, I need more than that. So she takes out her lasers, her guns, her laser guns, her blaster. That's what they call it, right? Blasters. And so, Sabine is the skeptic here, and also, just not the devout Force user, right? She's still learning. But Ezra apparently spent all his time practicing Force magic with the little hermit crabs. So, and then now Ahsoka's faith in the Force has been validated to this point, right? She showed Sabine like, hey, have a little faith. We're gonna make it. And I'm sure Ahsoka's all optimistic right now. She probably has some idea in her head right now, right? What it is, I don't know. Uh, Ezra thinks it's all dandy, you know. Sabine is probably a little worried. She's the one to worry a bit. Um, but I guess we'll find out next time. The last episode of the season. It was okay. It kind of ended. This is probably the most abrupt ending of any of this episodes thus far. Like, it made sense that it ended there in a way, because it's like everyone's like Ezra's all hopeful, and then we're still not sure what's happening, but it feels like a scene in the movie that is a nice ending to that scene, and then it cuts to Thrawn or something, and then it cuts back to like, hey, we're gonna figure this out. It doesn't quite end like I would like a show to, but that's me. A lot of these shows, these Star Wars shows are kind of just like movies, right? They're just like elongated movies that they're just cut up, and some of them work better than others. Some episodes better than others, etc., etc. But yeah, Ahsoka, it's looking to be a pretty decent Star Wars. It doesn't. I don't. Thrawn is definitely a freaking cool character. I want to see more of Thrawn, and maybe if the show, had focused more on Thrawn, maybe more on Sabine, maybe more on those characters, this show would have leveled up a bit, right? But as it is, it's gonna, it's definitely not Andor. It's definitely not like Last Jedi for me. It's not Empire Strikes Back. It's not top tier. Even if even if the final episode is the best thing ever, we still got all these other, the whole season as a whole isn't suddenly going to be kind of 10. But that's okay. This is a solid 8 or 7 out of 10 maybe. I don't know. Numbers are silly and arbitrary sometimes. You know what I'm saying? But that is Ahsoka. Next week we'll see it come to an end. It'll be October, so maybe it'll be like a scary, spooky episode. If it isn't already, the season's pretty spooky kind of a bit, huh? Maybe we'll get spookier. I'd like to see that. That would be like forward thinking for Disney to be like, oh yeah, let's put up Ahsoka. Let's premiere in, was it August? And then it'll end in October because we got this spooky ending. That'd be cool, right? We'll see. That's it, folks. Well, let's get back on that picket line with the actors. They're still on strike. And there's the auto worker strike. There's still a lot to go on. We still got a lot to do, folks.